You didn't do anything to make yourself homeless. Even if you think you did, and even if you did do something, you didn't and couldn't possibly have done anything to make yourself homeless. Capitalism creates homelessness. Capitalism necessitates homelessness. A whole lot of people had to be homeless. Just lucky you for being so unlucky like that. You're going to meet a lot of new people, including caseworkers, religious people, staff, volunteers, outreach workers, advocates, activists, hustlers, gangsters, business owners, renters, homeowners, police, city administrators, city council members, workers, people answering phones in call centers, bureaucrats who decide stability and precarity, who hold the keys to vehicles towards stability and survival. They'll likely talk to you about your situation and your life, what you're experiencing and observing firsthand in real time, as though it's something they know far more about and far better than you do. After all, they're not the one who's homeless. For as clueless and lost as they may be in their own life, they knew enough and they did enough right to not find themselves homeless. They'll expect you to say key phrases and work from scripts they've heard before. Their eyes will glaze over should you deviate from expectations and what they're willing to see and hear. Reactions and responses to you will only be superficially relevant to you, anything you do or say. Now I'm speaking generally. It will often be like this, but not always. This new part of your life that you're entering is nothing you could have realistically prevented, nothing you could have avoided or adequately prepared yourself for. It's the result of economic, cultural, societal, and political forces, the size of oceans, with their own currents and waves and tides and hurricanes and tsunamis. You're just a person. You're just a person. And these people that you will meet are just people too. Though some will represent themselves as the embodiment, representative, or proxy of larger forces, organizations, systems, institutions. And then others will claim to only speak for themselves, and their motivations are only influenced by their own ideas, their own interests, and their own desires. And not everyone's a liar, but you'll know when you see it, and you won't always get it right. And just hopefully it won't matter, and hopefully you can keep moving. There are no easy, uncomplicated answers to be had. Incorrect and incomplete answers are abundant. They're given out freely with little thought or scrutiny, then misheard, misremembered, and given out again. The solution to your lack of housing is yours to find and see what you can make happen. The loneliness, the isolation, alienation, endless catch-22s will be oppressive. This is something imposed on all of us, though the intensity varies. That part is universal, and it's not unique to you. It doesn't originate from you. Also, understand that you're seeing truths that are always there, but they're unseen by others. Your current vantage point gives you an unobstructed, unabridged view of the ugly inner workings of big machines that are typically concealed, obscured, or misunderstood, depending on a person's position or status. But no one really cares what you see. Even if you see some things that are really remarkable, that people ought to know about, who cares? What could you possibly see that you could also understand? And who's going to listen? And who would believe you? They're going to call you crazy. They're going to suggest that you're a liar or you've got an agenda, but you can't let it get to you. It just comes with the territory. They used to call the homeless the less than dead, and some still do, but they're more careful when and where they say it. Regardless, you will be seen as something less than human. You may have had a life and been a person before this, and you may be one at some point in the future. But at present, you occupy a liminal space, akin to a ghost, something that can be seen but feels out of place, that has no easy explanation, unless the space exists in a person's understanding of reality and how the world works. It's an experience that's taboo to look at too closely, only meant to be considered in very specific and limited ways. There is knowledge and certain truths and wisdom that's reserved for the dead, that sometimes living people end up in possession of. It evokes a very primal reaction, like seeing a ghost or encountering the smell of death. But it says far more about our culture and society than someone who doesn't have a place to live. They didn't do it to themselves. They didn't do anything. That's the result of capitalism and a market that's been manipulated in some very specific ways. More to the point, the view is amazing. There's a lot of reason to hold it together, to toughen up to survive a harder life, for the chance to tell people and to share what you've learned. If you keep at it, someone will hear you. I have found that alone is reason enough to live. What would I be willing to endure for the chance to share all I've learned? Well, I don't know. I suppose I would patiently make my way through razor wire and mud, slowly finding my way through miles of minefields, flat on my belly, under withering machine gun and rifle fire, tentatively probing with my knife for that telltale shape and clink of landmine, to disarm and then continue moving forward 1 inch at a time. Because what is this life for? To hold it together, to do impossible things, to give all of oneself in this life, to give the very best of oneself, to build a better world through our actions and what we can do in this moment. I want you to think very carefully about this question. What would it solve if you do all the steps, everything you're being told you ought to do? If you work hard and get this help all these people keep talking about. Let's say you can get into housing. Well, then how much is accomplished if you need to abandon all the things you've learned in order to go along with the compromises, expectations, and requirements? How much is accomplished if it's only you that's helped and nothing changes for anyone else? If you look at the bigger picture and how this gets addressed on a societal level, it's less expensive, less work, less resource intensive, faster, and benefits everyone to correct the problem of homelessness than it does to continue down the path we are currently on, which has no value. Some may profit, but profit does not have value. People are made homeless. No one chooses it, and no one does it to themselves.